texture is all over the place.
Everything. Exactly. That's right.
We are strong black women.
Hey,
Happy Wednesday.
happy Wednesday.
Hey.
All right, beautiful ladies, how are y'all doing tonight?
Ooh,
I'm good.
yeah, I'm Gucci. I'm lovely right now.
Okay, drinking early. Okay, I'm here for
Yeah,
it.
we're doing a little early sips.
Already got your drink.
To BAPS Comedy Live episode 5. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us yet again. We are BAPS Comedy. I'm AB.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jillian.
And we are BAPS Comedy. We are live every other Wednesday, giving you all our hot takes, making drinks, doing all sorts of sexy things. So just so we know, if you want to reach us, facebook.com/BAPS Comedy or on YouTube, BAPS Comedy. We love it, all that good stuff. And, support Black women and pay us. Okay, there you go. All the info is at the bottom. Jillian, what
Yes.
we doing tonight?
All right. So tonight I want to just keep it simple. I know some nights we make a fancy cocktail, but it's the first week of September. Kids are back to school, teachers are back working. So we're just drinking wine. So you don't need to make anything fancy today. Just open up your glass. I have a screw top, so mine's already off. And you just pour. And whatever goblet you like. I'm drinking out of this fancy thing. This is definitely not for wine, but who gonna stop me?
Nobody, boo. And we about to watch
cork action.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love getting cork action. When I used to be waitress/bartender back before, I became unemployed due to Corona. I used to get so nervous to open these in front of company because sometimes you have to open them at the table or open them in front of the guests, and it was like stressful.
I'm not a fan of opening wine bottles in front of anybody because I'm always struggling. Okay.
Ow.
Real quick.
I'm not a professional, all right?
But side note, your waiter or server should always open it in front of you at your table. Like I remember one of my first managers at a restaurant was like, you can't open this in the back. They need to see you open it. They need to know that this is a brand new bottle. So
when they're ordering a bottle versus
a bottle.
a glass, because a glass, if you're ordering a glass, no one's going, excuse me, I'm gonna need you to open it in front of me.
Could you imagine?
All right. Well, I love it. We're fancy professionals,
And we grown.
We grown.
We grown for real now.
We grown for real. Toasted.
Real now. Okay. So we do have a lot to talk about today, right? So much to talk about. We're gonna talk birthdays. We're gonna talk 30th birthdays. Shout out to Miss Jillian. And then we're gonna talk just our 30s, like the differences, how we feel, how much sexier we are, all that good stuff. But we're going to start it off with verses.
Yes. Did y'all see Versus? I know everybody done seen Versus because there was first of all, this has been an epic breaking records of a Versus. Okay, did you guys enjoy the Versus?
Yeah, so obviously we're talking about Monica versus Brandy, right?
Yes,
we're talking about Monica versus Brandy. I have never been so happy during this entire quarantine. And when Erykah Badu versus Jill Scott happened, I thought, this is the happiest I could be. But Brandy versus Monica, I toast those ladies.
It was definitely a feelings Versus for sure. I definitely felt every moment, whether it be questioning whether or not there was shade being thrown, um, as
Was it a
well as
question? Because it was definitely being thrown.
I mean, okay, so I, I feel like the whole throughout the whole verses, everybody's like, hey yo, what's going? What's happening? Yo, is everybody seeing this? Are we feeling the same way? So
Yeah.
overall, I just thought it was very entertaining. It was what I needed at the time, and it also seemed like 1.2 million people also needed it as well, consistently. So, but
Mhm.
Jillian, how did you feel?
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be shady once they made it clear that like they hadn't really had a conversation until that night. I
8 years
assumed that
ago.
yeah, like I assumed that
Yeah,
they had like buried the hatchet and they agreed to it. But knowing that they agreed to it and then they had like a moment of reconciliation, I was like, oh well, this is about to be shady because they didn't even get to go home and sleep on it. Like,
they literally was like, "Hey, girl, what's going on? So you want to do this verses? Okay, let's do this verses. Oh, so we're not gonna have no time in between? No, we're gonna do this verses." I
I
was
think
like, "Well, damn."
when both of y'all got albums to promote, new music to promote, you figure out how to get along for a versus. You know what I mean?
Very true.
yeah, I think the highlight for me definitely was when Monica was introducing um Knock Knock, I think is the song. And she's like, this is back when I used to, kick down the door and smack a chick. And Brandy was like, I know, because you smacked me. And I was like,
I think everybody was like, because I took a moment. I was just like, really, Brandy? That's what we doing? Okay, well let me go ahead and step back because I don't want to perpetuate more black women tearing down each other type of content around here.
yeah,
So
Whatever shade they felt that was obvious or that they tried their best to hide, they both showed up for each other and gave it the best music. Like it was just the most beautiful night of music. Like it was so good. It was
yeah.
so
did everyone like enjoy the selection of songs that both of them decided to show us, to share with us?
I definitely did. I liked it because I could look it around, I could hear both songs and immediately like, oh, that was a tie. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good response. Like everything was legit like a musical bout. You know what I mean? I loved
Hmm.
the music choice and loved it even more so that I felt like they were both picking songs for each round that matched.
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of songs I had forgot about, which was nice. But it was also nice to just like hear these songs and hear the stories. And I think like what I like the most about these verses is that a lot of times they are fans of each other. So like beef aside, like to see Brandy, doing harmonies with Monica for her songs was really fun because you're like, oh, they like these songs too. Like, it's definitely a moment.
I liked so here there was a moment where it was clear Brandy was like, let's harmonize, let's sing. And Monica was like, nah.
I didn't warm up my vocal cords on that level.
See, what we not about to do is we not about to give them too much of a show. But like, I respect that. At the same time, I understood why Brandy was like, man, we have not been on stage. We haven't physically performed or been around an audience to perform. We saw like they said that they actually had a little crew of their own. And so, they were trying to give a show. What Brandy was trying to give a little show and sing a little bit. And I just definitely felt a certain way. Brandy, that Monica was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just have my DJ play this song, and I'm gonna just sit here and do this little rock, and y'all
I
about to
mean,
enjoy this.
she dressed though. She had her full outfit. I feel like I was watching all of the comments, and they all loved her outfit. They loved it.
Yeah,
I think you can always tell too when you watch the verses, like who probably watches them. And that's
Yeah.
like no shade to Monica, but I definitely think that you could tell like Brandy probably has been watching the verses, so she came ready to sing. She came ready to harmonize because she knew what it was. And I
Yeah.
feel like Monica was like, "Oh, I'm just here to get these hits off and promote this music." Like,
Right. Yeah. You can definitely tell that Brandy was like, oh, oh, this is what we need to do for our verses. Okay, I'm gonna come prepared with these ad lib side songs to add on to debut transition into the actual song that I'm
yeah, she
using.
had music drops.
Oh, she was giving you the whole full shebang.
So we just gonna
Um,
skip over this whole outfit thing. We just not gonna talk
I
about
mean,
that.
Monica
listen,
wasn't wearing pants that you could move in. Okay, is that what you want to discuss?
I like see. So here's the thing. Monica, when Monica came out and she came out looking the way she was looking, and so I just like I don't. I want to tell you the truth. I didn't prefer any of their outfits, but I'm not out here about to tear down no black woman.
I wasn't trying to tear down anyone, but everyone loved the outfits, and then I brought the outfits up, and both y'all we just skipped the whole
First of all,
conversation.
Solange and Tyler the Creator throughout the whole verses was trying to figure out whether or not Monica was wearing boots or was it some strappy pants. Okay, so that alone I had to tell myself, I was like, Adrian, what you not about to do is we not about to tear down this black woman right now. No, we
Not
not.
my intention. I apologize if that was the how it came out. I just saw that everyone loved her outfit, and you know me, I'm a little older generation. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And I went to school where I had to wear a uniform for a very long time. So I didn't learn how to dress. Till I was about 28 at the earliest.
I mean, I
mm.
still don't know how to dress, so I try not to talk about people's outfits.
No, I actually felt like Brandy's fit where she was in her life. You know what I mean?
See,
Yeah.
I
Brandy, yeah,
fit where she was in her
Brandy was giving me eccentric, eclectic
hmm
artistry, hippie, and Monica was giving me
We liked Brandy's outfit. We like the vibe.
no. Monica was giving me I'm going to the club, leather pleather with a
Mhm.
corset, keeping the waist tight, with a sombre. Uh, but I don't think I was pushing or stressing over any of their outfits. So but it wasn't bad or good. So but they are artists. So that's what people do. They try to push boundaries and stretch what they think is deemed fashionable. So I
I'm
can't
trying to get to a point where I can wear whatever the hell I want. And
say.
yep, hmm I do agree. I do agree.
And
So
not have to worry.
I would ask if you would choose, even though both queens came out and did their thing, if there
hmm
was one that you sided with more as far as the song selection, who would you lean towards?
I know my answer.
Mm,
I knew the answer as soon as it was over. I didn't have to think about it. They were both just amazing. I was jamming on every song, but for me, the
mm,
emotional, like how emotional I got for every song that Brandy played, for
mm.
me, she was my clear winner. I would not fight anyone who says Monica was their clear winner because it was just amazing both rounds. And every time I was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh, every single time. But for me, I just would get up and forget that I'm supposed to be working every time Brandy put on a song. She was my winner.
Jillian?
I'm gonna say this because listen, I love Brandy, but she played a song that I have PTSD from. So I'm just gonna pick Monica because I had to listen to I Wanna Be Down, and that song single-handedly traumatized me into not singing for 5 years. So you know what? I'm gonna
Mm.
just go with Monica just to have a difference of opinion.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I had a very embarrassing moment to I Wanna Be Down in college.
I
Oh my God. It was, yeah, no.
I I- you know what? As hard as I think these are two queens and legends in their own right, and I feel like musically and vocally, they both have They have great vocals that nobody can match. Downright, when you hear a Monica song, you like, damn, that's Monica. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? As well as Brandy. But to be the tiebreaker, I have to side.
How you
Dude,
already
no,
know?
I already know. Like, you say it. We know. It is what
Uh,
it is.
okay, okay. So Brandy,
Yeah.
it
You
Brandy was
saying
such a I
you
know,
saying
but Brandy was such an iconic. Like she literally made trends that women and little girls followed. The whole braids, but Moesha, Impossible, Cinderella, like that. To me, I'm just so attached to Brandy because of my childhood and what I've grown to love. But I think Brandy won, but Monica, as far as me being a grown ass woman, I definitely uh can relate to now because I felt everything in all the songs. She was like, I had to kick down your girl, kick down the door. And I was like, damn, okay. When I felt emotional to kick down some doors, but I ain't kicking down no doors. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely felt the pain for Monica, but I have to side with
Yeah.
for Brandy
No.
just to,
And I 100% understand. And under normal circumstances, I would side with Brandy. But once you've been booed off the stage for singing her song, you kind of just, you kind
yeah.
of it just hurts. It
Uh,
just hurts.
know that you are our queen. You would never
It
do.
wasn't my fault though. I take solace in knowing that it wasn't my fault. It
mm.
was the girls I was supposed to harmonize with.
You
You know
know,
what? Screw them girls, okay? Because you deserve better.
all the way better. All the way better. I think at the end of it, we all do agree that it was just one of the best verses. I think one of the best verses I've seen. Two
Yeah.
black women who looked amazing, sounded amazing, still are at that level. You know what I mean? Like, it's just beautiful to see. So at the end of the day, black women in general were the winners.
Yeah, and I think that it was like the perfect setup for the next verses, which is going to be Miss Patty LaBelle
Oh
and
my
Miss
God.
Gladys Knight. Because listen, when I tell you, I am like, my spirit needs this.
I need this so much. Like when I saw this, first of all, I thought it was fake. Because I didn't see it because I don't follow the actual page. So I
Mhm.
saw somebody else post this and I was just like, this would be a good versus. Not even thinking that it's an actual versus. And I was just like, I saw a number of other people reposting. I was like, oh word, this is real? Oh my God.
Hmm.
Because that's just how I felt. Oh wow. This is
It's
about to
gonna be
take us
beautiful.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
This
gonna be
it's gonna be
beautiful.
so much child. It's gonna be so
Ooh,
many child.
you take what
Lord.
these young ones don't understand today. It's gonna be beautiful. It's
I
gonna
can't
be
wait for the stories. It's at the Fillmore, which makes me think that we're going to get concert vibes because it's a concert hall. Like, I just think, and I
Yeah.
wish we knew, like, did like Swiss and, did they reach out to
How
like
did that
them, or
even
did like they
yeah.
want to do it for the culture? Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm ready for I feel like Jillian, just like what you said, everybody, because I feel like Patty and Gladys don't play whatsoever. They're gonna be like, now honeys, I'm gonna need all y'all to take a COVID test if y'all gonna agree to do this now.
Mhm.
Cause we too damn old to be catching none of y'all young shit. Okay? There's gonna be so many great sayings and old like music, and they might even sing together and harmonize. We don't know. I can't wait. It's gonna be so fun.
It is.
I'm excited.
I'm so ready. I'm just I feel like this verses is gonna solidify me into my auntie status.
Ooh. Speaking of auntie status, because somebody just celebrated a birthday. Okay, let's go into that grown mode of being 30. Let's give it up for Jillian.
Hello.
Woo!
It is
Oh,
me, Jillian, but now I'm 30.
yes. Tell us,
Yes.
how did you celebrate your 30th?
Didn't really do too much. I just kind of chilled at my house with my family, which I was happy with. I was with my parents and my sisters, and I don't know. I was in New Jersey. I was in Chicago for so long throughout coronavirus and missing them and just being really worried about everything going on. So it was really nice to just like be with them and to be able to just spend time with them. Obviously, my birthday was on Labor Day, so in a normal world, I would have been on a boat somewhere, and that was the goal because 30th birthday on Labor Day. So I was a little disappointed, but I was also happy that like I was able to celebrate it with my immediate family and that everyone was, available and healthy enough to do that. So, yeah, we just had some burgers, some dogs, you know, I had a caramel cake. Like my sister made me breakfast in the morning. She made like a traditional dish that I haven't had in a really long time. So it was chill. It was chill. I might do a half birthday party in March because I definitely want a party. But
You have to, though. You have to,
yeah.
even though, like, I feel like you need to find a way to safely and, like, do it big because as much as I didn't want to celebrate, like, or have a big, like, celebration of turning 30, I definitely felt like, oh, this is a big moment in your life and
Mm-hmm.
stage that a lot of people don't get to celebrate. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I think you do need to take a moment and whenever you decide to really celebrate and live it up, to live it up and
Yeah.
celebrate it for sure.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm
all
like I'm like twofold on my birthday. Either I just like don't care or I'm going overboard. So this was definitely one where I was just like, like there's a pandemic outside, So I definitely think that whether it's for my half birthday, which is in March, or for my 31st birthday, I definitely think I'll just turn up the way I want to. Um, Not to say that how Monday wasn't great. Monday was great. Um, but yeah, it was pretty chill. Any
Ooh. So
Oh, let's
I
see.
don't know if Jillian and Brandyberg realize who this is, but this is the famous Caritha that I talk about all the time.
Any
Miss Jane.
God!
Oh my god! Oh
Hey!
my god! I feel like I know you, but I don't know you, Amy Carissa.
Oh my God! We out here. Oh my God!
This is the famous, yes, the famous Caritha.
Hey!
For our other viewers, Caritha is my auntie, my favorite auntie in the whole world, who gets mad that I don't call her Aunt Caritha, that I just call her Caritha. She's hilarious. Oh, my bad. It's my sister using my auntie's Facebook.
No, you know what? I feel like I've had such great birthdays before turning 30.
Mhm.
I don't like making a big fuss out of like just to my friends and stuff like that. I had for back to back, I think back to back years uh before turning 30. I think it was like 25, 26. I had surprise birthday parties. First of all, I'm so easily surprised at anything and everything. But my friends was like, "Hey ho, y'all want to do the same thing that we did last year?" She not gonna think she's not gonna think 2 seconds about it. And I was surprised. But turning 30, I really didn't do it. I actually went to a show. I went to a comedy show and then I went out to dinner with a friend and then I hung out with Jillian. I hung out with Jillian. We went to a comedy like a party, Christmas party
Yes! Oh my
on
god!
on my 30th. And Jillian was like, "Bitch, what are you doing? Like, why are you here?" And I was just like, I don't want to make it a big deal because my birthday was on a weekday, but I ended up doing something big on the weekend. And I was just like, you know what? I do feel better now that my friends was like, bitch, if you don't celebrate your motherfucking birthday, you done
Hmm.
turned 30 years old, you went around the sun another year. Celebrate just living and being present in this world for another year. So my recommendation is just like whatever you deem special, like do it and don't feel obligated to do anything more or less. Whatever you want to do, just do it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. I agree. I feel like for me, birthdays are what people try to do with New Year's, right? So you have all these resolutions and all that because it's a new year. But I really feel like birthdays are what's important because that's when you celebrate all the bullshit you've been through, all the awesome things you've done that you made it a whole nother year. That to me, that's where you say, whoo, look at all this that I accomplished in my turn around the sun and you know, in my 1 year, my extra year that I get to be on this earth. And then now watch what I do this upcoming year. I'm gonna go ahead and warn y'all, we should never do wine again as a drink because I get so drunk so quick off of wine. And I'm gonna start getting passionate about these 30s and I'm gonna start stuttering and it's gonna be hilarious and I'm sorry.
That's why you gotta drink wine. You gotta drink water in between.
I know what. I want to give y'all a heads up. But that's how I feel about birthdays.
Yeah, I definitely think as someone who just turned 30, I think it's definitely what you make it. I think I definitely felt a lot of pressure. I had a lot of people in my life who were like, "What are you gonna do for your birthday? What are you gonna do for your birthday? What are you gonna do for your birthday?" And like prior to COVID, I wasn't really sure for multiple reasons. Like for starters, my birthday is in the middle of hurricane season, so most of the places I want to go, I was worried that a hurricane would come. But also like being an artist and living the lifestyle that I do, I fluctuate a lot. And so, in January, when people were like, well, you need to plan your birthday, I was like, I don't know where I'm going to be living. I don't know what job I'm going to be having. I don't know how much money I'm going to be having. And so for me, it was like, I don't really feel like planning anything because I don't know where I'm going to be. Do I want to be on a boat? Yes. In what city? I don't know.
Yeah.
Thankfully for me, COVID happened in March and it was able to just cut it
Decide
out
all
from
the
me.
best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I definitely think just do what you want to do. I mean, I think for some people, they like, I'm turning 30, I need to be this, this, and that. I think for me, I was just like, it's another year. I'm just going to keep working on the things I've been working on. So I feel like it can be whatever you want it to be. If you want this to be a milestone where you truly maybe change some things you've genuinely been working on, do it. If you want to just be like, hey, I'm just going to keep being fabulous and just be a little bit more sure of myself and my purpose, then do that too.
I would say I was gonna say like from your if you can remember, if you can recall, from your 20th birthday to your 30th birthday, like what was the biggest take or just difference or just your outlook? Because I just feel like 10 years is such a long time, even though it feels like 10 years literally flew. But but how do you feel now that 10 years has passed from when you turned 20? Like how do you
Um,
feel?
that's so interesting. I think I had a very interesting 20th birthday. So,
Mm.
like, I spent my 20th birthday in Spain. I was studying abroad, and it was the beginning of the semester. I had just moved there. I did not know anyone really because I had met my classmates maybe 7 days before.
Oh wow.
Um, so I remember my dorm mates who were also American, but like I had just met, they took me out and we like went to like a bar in Spain. And it was really nice, but I was just like, I don't know anyone. Like, I'm in this new country. Like,
Mhm.
I was like super a little bit more shy than I am now. Still very outgoing, but I think I definitely was just like, I don't know, but it was fun. And it was cool, and it was legal to drink there, so that was fun. But I think back to that person, like that girl, like who, just like went across the ocean and didn't know anyone. I like to think that like I hope I still have that adventurous spirit. So I think there's like so many things that are still so similar about me that I'm still definitely like I don't know where I'm gonna be. I don't know what country I'm gonna be in. But I also think that I'm definitely much more sure of myself, much more confident in myself, like don't care about a lot of things.
Mhm.
Um yeah, because 20-year-old Jillian was like she had a whole dorm room full of people that wanted to take her out, and she was just like, I don't know, I don't know, like we're in Spain, like. But me now, I'd be like, yeah, please take me out. I don't want to plan anything. Like this is, but I don't know. I think I'm just more sure of myself and my purpose. Like at 20, I didn't even know I wanted to be a comedian. Like, at 20, I thought I still wanted to be a social worker. Like,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
so, like, I think that's the biggest difference, that like I didn't know my purpose or what I wanted to do with my life at that time. So
I know this was a long time ago, but AB, do you remember or recall when
you about to have her drunk on this.
We're not going to sit here and all right.
do you recall your 20th birthday?
So 20 was a little bit longer ago. Yeah. I don't remember what I did for my 20th birthday. I know where I was though. I know that I was living in Florida still. My birthday's in the summer. So I know I was still living in Florida, and I know what my life was like when I was living in Florida. And I would not go back to my 20s. You couldn't pay me enough. I wouldn't do it. I had self confidence was so low, and I've always been someone who, if I get uncomfortable, I just kind of go away. Like I would be at parties when someone brought me to a party, and I would just be uncomfortable around all those people, and I would just walk back to my apartment or walk back to my dorm, probably like a 45-minute walk. I used to do stupid stuff like that, and I just couldn't be around people. I couldn't be myself. I never when I started doing comedy, I remember my daddy was like, you like that's something that you want to do, because I didn't do things like that. And I don't remember what I did for my 20th birthday, but I remember that I was not the person that I am now. And my 30th birthday, I remember we went to San Francisco because I didn't want a huge birthday party. I wanted to take trips. And even that was so different than how I was in my 20s. Like I wanted to travel and see new things, and I wasn't as scared to spend a little bit of money, because I would never spend money. And I was like, oh, well, let's go. That was our first trip to California. And we went to San Francisco, and it was just the 30s started. You can actually have some fun and enjoy yourself. And there are other things in life besides doing what's expected of you. Right. And not that like I was out there acting an ass when I got to my 30s, but I just said, oh, wow, this is something I want to do for me. And I really don't care if anyone else is okay with it. That was turning 30 for me.
Mm.
Yes. I mean, it was not that long ago. It was,
No, it's not long ago, but like in retrospect, we've lived so, a year in general is such a long time. If you think about it, a year of living is such a
Mhm.
long time. Like when newborns, when they first come out of the womb, they've experienced so much before their first birthday. We don't. I think sometimes we take for granted how much time it takes for a year to actually happen, and how
Mhm.
much living we actually do within that year. So I know I remember my 20th just being lost, a lost puppy. I like just like you. I felt AB. I felt like I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was such a loner. I was, I'm in college, but I didn't know quite what to do with myself. But I kind of was like, I was I felt like I was a follower, like maybe I should go with what everybody else is doing because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing with my life. And then
Mhm.
I'm also listening to my elders, and they're just like, this is what you need to do. I'm a first generation graduate in college, so I'm just like, this is what I need to do in order for me to prosper in life. So I didn't quite know
Mhm.
what I wanted to do with myself versus 10 years from now, turning 30. I'm so secure with what I want to do and who I am. With myself, I could care less what I did for my 30th, but I also need to take in consideration that 30 years, especially being born and raised from Chicago, is a fucking like celebration. I know
Mhm.
so many people that didn't make 25. You know what I'm saying? I know a number of people that did not make 25 years old whatsoever. And so being a I'm 32. I know people be like, don't say your age. I'm 32. I don't care. Um, I'm like, damn, when I turned 30, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be chill, thank you, it's my birthday, blah blah blah. But then on the weekends, I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and celebrate this. This is life. Let's celebrate life. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? So I completely agree with both of you guys. So
Here's
And
what I have. Oh, go ahead, Jillian.
oh no, are you sure?
Yes.
I was gonna say, and I also think like it's so hard to like put a like idea of what a year is gonna be because you don't know, right? Like so for example, like if I look back on my 20s, like several years were really good for me, but specifically the year of my 28 was incredible, right? Like
mm,
28 to 29 for me was an incredible year that I did not anticipate, but
mm,
I made a lot of milestones for me personally that I had like
mm,
just issues, and then career wise I was just I just like took off in a way that I didn't think. And 29, which was my last year, was really difficult, and that was before COVID, right? So like the last 6 months of it was COVID, but the first 6 months of it wasn't. And the first 6 months I really struggled for various reasons. And then the last 6 months have just been what the world is. But I think for me, I could never anticipate that 29 would be like that, right? So I think it definitely made me feel like, well, I'm not going to put any expectation on 30 because 30 might also be kind of weird and hard, but like who's to say that 31 and 32 aren't going to be incredible, So I think that too of like when people are like, oh, you're 30 now, you're 30 now. I'm like, yeah, I am, but it's just another year and I'm just going to, hope for the best. Like we're in a whole pandemic. I'm just truly happy to be alive. Like,
Yep.
yeah,
so.
I will say this: when I turned 20, I felt like my path from what I thought was already pre-made for me, preset for me versus my 30th. Like when I turned 30, I was just like, oh, I'm not following nobody's rules or path. And now I'm just like, hey bitch, what we about to do now? Cause you done made your own path and it's not as clear and set like your 20th. You know what I'm saying? Because you've
Mhm.
been at 20 years old, you're young and you're listening to everybody else. You're just like, oh my God, this is what I'm supposed to do. Okay, I need to go to school, I need to get a good job, I need to get a house, get a husband, blah 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 bullshit. I like during that 10-year span, I was just like, you come through this realization like, oh, society, uh, uh, this is the needs and wants and patriarchy, and you start to pull all that shit out, and you just be when you turn 30, you like, hey bitch, where you going? Like this is where you going with your life? What you
But
doing with your
Brandenburg,
life?
like you'll say, so Brandenburg, you say that you like went through this whole path, like and I get you, the 20 something path is set for you. You know what you're supposed to do, and then like a lot of folks, you went another path, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I did the same thing, but I feel like, isn't that so much more enjoyable? I have no idea where this path is going to lead to. And it's some foggy areas around there. And, sister may need a flashlight or some shit. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's just so much more enjoyable. And the things that maybe, of the 10 things they said we had to do in our 20s, maybe we end up actually doing 3 of them, but we know for a fact those are 3 things we actually really, really want. As opposed to
Mhm.
I've been told to do this, and here's 7 extra things that I really don't want in my life, but here I am.
Mhm.
I feel like I didn't really start living until I turned 26. When I turned 26, I really start to wake the fuck up and start living my life for me versus what I was told how I was supposed to live.
Mm-hmm.
And at 26, as young as that is, I felt like, damn, I done wasted my life. I done wasted my life living for people other than myself.
Mhm.
So, you know what I'm saying? Preach. There we go, Neva. Yes, Neva. Yes.
Yeah.
So I implore everyone to just take the time out and to find and just to sit down and really ask yourself what you really want in this world and go after it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whatever you're looking for.
And I think sometimes it doesn't, yeah, it could even just be like if like I feel like years from now, if someone asks me about my 20s, like I'll look back fondly because I will always think of Chicago. Like
Oh,
6 years. I spent 6 years of my I spent 20 yeah, like I moved to Chicago when I was 23, turning 24. And so I was there for 6 years. And for those who don't know, I don't live in Chicago at the moment, which is fine. But like, I like for me, I'm like, oh, my 20s will always be Chicago and comedy, but also like Chicago because my life, like there's just so many things that happened with my life there that weren't necessarily just comedy, but also were. And like, I feel like for me, for nothing else, like knowing that like I spent like knowing what Chicago has done for me for my 20s, like I'm content with everything. Well, no matter what like happens after this. Like I just realized that in this moment. I was like, "Oh wow, I spent most of my 20s in Chicago." Like that's
I
my
think
little
that's
second
so
home.
beautiful because Jillian and I are not from Chicago. So Brandenburg is over here about to cry with all the emotions in the world. Just like at home right
shut
now.
up.
But
Y'all,
it's just so funny because Jillian just tells the most beautiful story about Chicago, and no matter what happened in her 20s, Chicago will be that most beautiful moment of it. And for me, it was me having the confidence that I had in my 30s to go to Chicago. I was already 30 when I went to Chicago, right? And I'm just like, I would not have had the confidence to move to Chicago if I was not in my 30s, right? If I wasn't already had that confidence, I wasn't grown. Like I already did this stuff that you told me not, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And my life changed when I moved to Chicago. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't from Chicago. I wouldn't know what I know. Like I wouldn't be doing something I actually love. It made me the writer that I am. That was definitely Chicago. So I think it's just beautiful that you look at your 20s, you look at your 30s, and how Chicago, which now this is the story about Chicago, impacted us in two different decades of our life in such a meaningful way. You know?
Yeah, I would say turning 30 definitely shaped me in being a better woman, being a better human being. And as Nevada says, let's talk about the joints.
I
As
need her.
soon as I turned 30, I felt like my body and my joints was like, yeah, we over with. Like it, yeah, I'm in pain. I feel like it was definitely an eye opening situation for me.
Stretch before I go walk. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds no. My left knee does this little creaky thing. Like you say things like, I gotta watch my salt intake. You know what I mean? Like that's your 30s, and I say that. I say, nah, I gotta watch my salt intake.
I mean, I literally can't eat certain things. Like and these are the things. First of all, I've been like my back. Like when I tell y'all my back, like it's crazy. It is crazy. Like I don't even know. Shout out to Olga. That's one of my friends from high school. She's turning 30 this weekend.
Hey, let's
Yeah, we did
go.
my virtual sister. Like, girl,
Hey.
I'm not ready for 30 to hit you either, Olga. Cause like, bro, I'm back home in this twin bed, and I'm like, I, the main thing I miss right now from Chicago is my massage therapist. Cause girl,
Wait a second, cause like I feel like as soon as I turned 30, I remember taking a picture of my first workout when I turned 30, and I was just like, "Hey yo, why can I not run the way I used to run at 29?" I was on the treadmill struggling, and I normally like when I was 28, 29, I was like, you know what? We not about to do this. We about to have this nice fit body. I'm talking about as soon as I turned 30, my body was like, nope, we good.
No,
We about to tighten the fuck up.
I will say this though, I have several body goals that I'm still working on, and I'm like, I'm looking forward to me still having the body I want at 30 that I didn't have in my 20s. I'm like, we gonna do this. We gonna do this.
Listen,
Like,
I feel like
I gotta hurry up and get it if I'm gonna get that dream body. This 30s ain't got too much
listen,
long left
Angela
of it.
Bassett, 60 years old, and she look how she look.
thank
Ain't no,
you.
this
I
dream don't
don't
die.
eat cheese. I love cheese. She don't drink. I'm sitting here with a bottle of wine right now. It's certain things Angela Bassett sacrifices to be as fine as she is. I'm trying to be somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean?
I just saw a clip of Sierra after having a baby. She on this specialized treadmill talking about we about to get back at it, snapback body. I was like, bitch, I ain't had no baby and I'm small. I'm bigger than you. How am I bigger than you? How, Sway? How?
Sway.
Oh my God.
I think about that. Like, Brandenburg, I feel like we do need to prepare Jillian for everything she's about to
Oh,
experience
please,
now that
please.
she is in her
I'm gonna
30s.
take notes.
I feel like we should prepare her for everything that's about to happen with now that she's in
Okay.
her 30s.
Okay, what's about to happen? I'm writing my notes down.
I feel like your skin starts to change. The texture of your skin starts to
Mhm.
change. And AB and I, we are some connoisseurs of makeup and skin regimens.
If you don't use SPF now, I suggest you start yesterday.
If you don't jump on the SPF sunscreen
Yesterday.
right now, okay? What did
No,
Jason
no,
say?
Mm,
no, no.
mm,
Mm-mm.
mm,
Wait,
mm,
what?
Who is that?
If you don't
mm,
remove this,
Who
mm,
is that? Why
mm.
you showing it?
Like, who wanted that
Do
Brandon
we know
Burger?
this man? Do we need to
I don't
block him?
know this man. Please show me
Yeah,
your
we,
ass.
no, we gonna have to block them.
Wait, we're going to have to delete. Who is this and
No, that's
why?
all right. Nevada got something to say, and
Thank you.
I agree. I'll tell you this, Nevada. My taste, like all of a sudden, my skin could not handle cheap earrings anymore at 30.
Ooh,
I was like, oh,
dang.
what happened? You know, all of a sudden, if I didn't look at the prices, I naturally wanted the most expensive lipstick or something. Name brand things suddenly felt, tasted better to me. Yeah, you get high maintenance when you're in your 30s. You don't even see it coming.
I feel like my palate my palate on my tongue changes where I'm just like, oh, what is this? Uh, oh no, I cannot have this. We are not doing this whatsoever. Oh my God. Your skin changes, your palate, you become more expensive. You start to get more like bougie. You don't want to go out for certain reasons. Well, first of all, we can't go out, no way. But yeah, you start to be like, where we going? Uh
I
who's
know
gonna be there?
I stopped drinking $10 wine and I started drinking $12 wine.
Listen,
I went to that mid shelf.
your taste
Yeah.
buds just change.
I done already changed my liquor selection midsummer, so I think I'm ready. Cause I was feeling it. I was like, "Man, you can't be drinking this Hennessy no more. You're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to switch to light, girl. You can't just be out here."
I will say that too. I couldn't handle sugary cocktails anymore. Like I started drinking everything straight, tequila, whiskey. I started drinking everything straight. I could not handle any of that sugar anymore.
So chasers are no go for me. I'm a purist now. Okay.
Oh,
I am a I'm a purist now unless I go to a fancy ass restaurant and I'm just like, oh, you have signature cocktails. Oh, well let me try that signature cocktail of yours.
I appreciate bougie bars with live music.
ah,
A
Yeah.
little player in the corner, you
Yeah.
know?
And
Mm.
and I you know what? I will say this. I start to and it's so funny now that now that I'm in my 30s, but I'm more prone to select a less form-fitting outfit than when I was in my 20s. Like in my 20s, I'm like, show my body, show my body, show my body.
I mean,
Now
have you
I'm just Yeah,
Have you
no.
met me though? I do love a low. I love a low cut shirt. I don't know if I'm ready to give up these titties.
This is true. This
It's
is
gonna
true.
happen as you get into the 30s because I
Okay.
felt like whenever I'd go out, I'd be like, let me just put them titties up. It'll be good. Everything could be the raggediest pair of jeans, dirty sneakers, whatever. Put the titties up, you'll be all right. Now I'm like, I got titties. I don't need to show them. I got places to be and things to do. No, thank you.
I'm not as blessed as you guys, but I'm on the top area, but I am blessed on the bottom area in the back. But
Mhm.
I find myself going, you know what? You can see my ass in baggy ass clothes. So we not about to do any of that.
You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
It is what it
I think
is.
I'm looking forward to these things though. I'm like looking forward to being like a little bit more sure of myself and just being at that place where I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like I'm gonna be me. Like it is what it is. Like this is who I am. Like I think those things I'm excited about and being that person that's like I'm grown. I'm not coming to this party at 10 p.m. No. If it ain't like if I'm not out my house already,
Let me tell everybody listening something right now.
Here we go. Here we go.
You knew it was coming the entire time we were together in Chicago. What did I say? I don't got time to be out this late. Nope. I got to be home at a certain time. I'm already doing nights at freaking 11 o'clock at night. You want me to go to the club? For what? But that
no,
makes me crazy.
no, AB, you can't.
Please,
First of all,
please, please,
okay.
please go ahead. Please
Y'all
go
need to
ahead.
know this for all the BAPS fans. When AB
Please.
decided to move to LA, she was like, "Nah, I want to go to the club. Like, I just need to go to the club with y'all." And we're like, "Okay, we're gonna go to the club one last time, all of us, before you move." And
One
she
time at all for me. I never went
and
to the
and
club.
and I picked a good night. I was like, okay, it's wear whatever you want night, right? You can wear sneakers for all you care. It's old school R&B night, like literally low stakes. You don't even gotta wear makeup, and she still punked out on us and refused to go to the club.
I can't do the club. I can't do the club. I can't be out with the childrens and the youngins and stuff, and they just be, oh no, my joints. I can't do that. No, I can't be
Oh
at the
Lord,
club.
she just said my joints.
I can't be at the club. There's so many people and it's hot. I just want to sit in a little bar and drink something that the bartender made up for me, but it doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. And the old man in the corner plays the bass, and maybe they give me a salad with goat cheese in it. Maybe it's so fancy. That's all I really need. You're welcome.
Okay.
Yep, you're welcome.
It's funny though because I feel like there's a piece of me that's like, yeah, I'm going to the club, but there's also a piece of me that's like, I've been in the house for 6 months. Can I go to the club?
Hell yeah.
Like, can I just go outside
I
and
feel
be
like
around people? Oh
yeah,
my
hell yeah.
god!
Because I remember. I don't know if you experienced this, Jillian, but I remember going to clubs at like 20, 21, like even 23, whatever, 24, and seeing old ass, what I thought was old ass people in the club. And I'm just like, what y'all doing in this club?
Yeah,
In VIP chilling. And then I realized when I turned 30, I was like, oh, that's gonna be me in
yeah,
VIP sitting down watching these young ass
yeah,
kids talking about
yeah,
like
yeah.
for
You're like,
real.
oh, so you mean to tell me I can have a seat and a bottle and not have to worry about
Facts.
anybody in my space?
And they have
Yep.
a rope to keep people away from me. Yeah.
Wait, I that's crazy to me. You have to be 25 and up to be able to understand that VIP and having a seat is for is for older like epsilon people
That's some life
versus
changing shit right there. When you get
It
a
is.
seat
man.
at the club,
To me, I feel like now that I'm older, I don't have a problem putting in on a table. Like, you know what I'm saying? In order for me to sit down.
I agree
You
with
know,
you. I agree
uh,
with you.
I,
And
I
it's
see the value.
and it's such a like so I will say this. I got bottle service once, and it was in Miami a few years ago for a friend of mine's bachelorette
Yes,
party. But I
okay.
do remember it was like a group of 8 of us, and like it just made more sense for us to get a bottle. But it was the first time that I was like, oh, we have our own section. We have our own liquor. Like, yeah, we're all like, some of us are single, some of us aren't. We are looking for men. But like, they're not even in the picture right now because this is just us. And I
Yeah.
remember just being like, oh, this is so great because we can all afford this. Like, I can't wait to like, if this is just a regular thing, like we're not just doing this for a bachelorette, because it's so nice when you're like, nah, this is my money, this is my liquor, this is my seat. What
Mm-hmm.
you trying to
I
do?
right. I definitely remember in my late 20s where I was just like with my friends and they were like, "I'm sorry, you want a table?" Oh, and I put money on this table and it dawned on me. I was like, "Word, is this what people do?" Oh my god, we have to do this all the
The
time.
time.
Oh,
I want y'all to be clear. I've been to a club. I was 20 something at one point in my life. So my first college was FAMU, it was Florida A&M. So I went to an HBCU in Tallahassee, Florida. Please believe I've been to the club. And we would go to the club and it was like a night before, it was a different club every night. It was like the night you would go to that club.
You
Like,
went to a club multiple nights in a week?
no, 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 no. There was a club you would go to. They
Oh,
had
okay.
set. But
Okay.
I'm still AB. No, no,
she
no, no,
said,
no. I would go either on a Friday or a Saturday, not both. And I'd go like once every 2 to 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Because I had
Oh
out
no.
all that stuff. And we would go then. That lasted probably a semester. And I was like, yo, I'm good. I'm good. I mean, it was just so crowded. And I don't know how old everybody else is, but when I went to the club in college, they played that song from the window. They go all the way to the wall, and then the
Yin
swing.
Yang twins.
Get
Wow.
low?
Oh, Ludacris, right? Or John who yells,
Little
"Yay!"
little John, get low. To
There
the
you go.
window, to the wall, to swept drip down my balls.
That song, and we would be in the middle of the floor, and all these guys would forget they was trying to holler at you, forget they was trying to get you to, and they would just start jumping and going crazy. And females was getting bowled in the face by accident, and people were flying around. It was craziness. I don't need to be at the club. You sweaty. I used to wear like the white Hanes, like they call them wife beaters, but that's not a good nickname for them. You know what I'm talking about? Those little shirts.
Yeah.
Yes.
You would cut down the middle so you'd have some cleavage, and you wear a cute bra, and you wear like some Air Force Ones and tight jeans, and that's all you had to wear to go to the club. Like
Oh
that,
my god, you was really in Florida.
I was in
I was
Florida.
just about to say that. She sound like a Floridian for real.
That's what Florida was. And then when I moved to back home to Texas, when I moved back to Texas, it was transferred to a school in San Marcos. So when I went out, I would go to Austin, Texas. That's what it was. Like whenever that song came on, they would just lose their mind. But it was moving back to Austin, or moving to Austin, where I learned the value of a good dive bar and a cold beer. And once I got to that point in my life, I couldn't do clubs anymore. I was done. It was over.
I remember like so in high school and like right after graduating high school, we went to this 18 and older like club. It was called Nitro in Chicago. It's closed down now, obviously, but for good reasons. Like it needs to be, it needs to be shut down. It needs to be shut down. But like I remember going with my girlfriends in my raggedy ass Ford Taurus and just go driving out there getting like I remember having foam parties. They used to have a foam party at the club. And like now in retrospect, I'm just like, nigga, what? What were we thinking? You know what I mean? But I just wanted to be out. I was with my girlfriends. We were juking. That's what we do in Chicago. And I'm just like, wow, the amount of times we was partying. Like, and then in college, I just remember going constantly because every day was a party. Every day we found a way to party, and I didn't drink whatsoever. I know Jillian went to Spain as a 20-year-old out here getting all the liquor. I had access to all the liquor, but I wasn't drinking because I was a designated driver. But I was also partying my ass off. So,
Yeah. You know what's crazy? So I did go to college in Connecticut, and I went to college outside of New Haven, and we used to go to the club in New Haven, and we dressed up. Like, I would go
mm.
out in like dresses and heels, like between 18 to 21. And it's wild to me because we would like, so my university, we had these shuttle buses that would shuttle us into New Haven, and it was essentially to stop us from drinking and driving. So they would just like shuttle, like, hundreds of drunk college kids into New Haven, and we'd be in the club, and I'd be in the club in heels and like low cut dresses, like partying. So when I left college, I was like, I'm not trying to wear heels no more. Like, I'm not trying to dress up. Like, I'm trying to just be comfortable because I've done this and I'm over it. Like,
I was just about to say, I remember going on the train during college, in the train, like with heels, in the freezing cold in Chicago, and thinking like we good, and everybody looking at us like, bitch, what are you wearing? I remember going in with a light ass jacket because they used to charge for coat check. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying an extra $3, $4 in college. Three,
yeah.
$4 in
That's
college.
college.
Nah.
And which
Everything.
is which is crazy because I was that person too. I would put my coat on the speaker. I would do all this stuff. Now I'm the person that's like, is there a coat check?
Facts.
Because I, I need to put this coat and bag up. Like, I don't have time for this. You just basically get your coat before it's time to go so that you don't have to wait in line. But I'm the person that's
Yeah.
like, y'all got a coat check? Like, we not getting
Cause
nothing on my coat. We not getting nothing on my bag. We not.
man, I remember when yeah.
Oh, go
You
ahead.
said Chicago. You said Chicago taught you?
Chicago taught me about code checks because I went to school in Florida and I'm from Texas. I never knew about code checks and all that stuff until I moved to Chicago. And then on those, like, and then I'm in my 30s. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to check the fuck out this code. Like, I don't know what y'all doing down here. I'm going to check the fuck out this code. Yes.
Oh my God. I just remember like I remember that whole transition of being like, oh my God, I do not want to pay for a coat check to versus like, is there a coat check? Because I'm wearing my full length winter coat. Okay? Is there a coat
Okay.
check?
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I significantly stopped going to the club in Chicago so I used to have a car my first few years here, and then I totaled it. And I stopped going out because it was like to be able to drive to the club and park and then you leave whenever you want. Like, it's a totally
Oh,
different thing. Like, you can
it
leave stuff in
really
your
is.
car. If you park close enough, then you can leave your coat in your car to like then having to lift or take public transit. Now I'd be like, how we getting there? Who all gonna be there? What side of
Oof.
town is it on? I,
Those are serious and real questions because I definitely remember being like, who are we going with? Oh, are they gonna be okay with me leaving my coat in their car? Because I want to be able to leave when I want to leave. Because I want to
mm-hmm.
take I want to take my coat out of the car so I can take this Uber or
Yeah.
taxi and go. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
I
will say
remember taking taxis. Do you guys remember taking taxis before there were Uber and Lyfts?
no. I never took tax. I don't go out enough. I'm telling you, when it's hard enough to get me out the house as it is. Hey, Natalie, it's harder to get me out the house as it is. And you want me to take a taxi when I was younger? Hell no. And then once I got older, yes, but that's when Uber and Lyfts were around. Because for me, that's what marks my 30s. When I said I need to be able to leave when I want to leave, so I can't ride with you. I need to make sure I have my own ride. If that means I'm driving, or if that means I definitely have money to get a Uber or a Lyft or whatever it may be, or a taxi. Like in Chicago, I took taxis. Yeah, because I was like, fuck this, I'm ready to go home. I'm good. No, no, thank
Mm-hmm.
you. Mm-hmm.
Ubers and Lyfts came at the right time because I definitely remember starting to drink because I started drinking late in life, starting to drink and being like, oh, because I always left when I felt like, oh, I'm getting a little too tipsy to be around people. And I used to just do the Irish exit and not tell anybody and just leave. And then going to finding a taxi, waving a taxi, and being like, when I used to eat burgers and stuff, being like, "Can we go to McDonald's real quick? I'll buy you something. I just want to give me something." And I used to just eat and lay on the like the whole seat, the back seat.
Oh my god.
I remember I remember doing that. That was
So
crazy.
I
go
will
ahead.
say this though. I was gonna say I will say this though. I have had my car towed by the club in Chicago because I didn't
What?
pay attention to the sign. One of the last times I feel like I went to the club in Chicago, my car was towed. And you know, whenever if you've ever had your car towed, I feel like the common thing is to think it got stolen, right? Because like you go to
Yes.
the space and you're like, was my car stolen? My car was stolen. Someone stole my car. And then you look up the sign and you're like, oh, my car was towed. That was the only thing I was always like nervous about parking and stuff like that. And like I
Yeah.
always obviously had to be conscious of like I would drive with my friend. It's like, are you drinking tonight? Am I drinking tonight? But I definitely have had my car uh towed
Oh
over
my
there on
god.
Ontario in Chicago. Not a club.
Oh my
Go ahead,
god.
Jillian. Okay, so I feel like we can aptly summarize the difference between your 20s and your 30s. And I'm going to let Olga say it again.
Yep.
They
That's
say your
real. That's
30s is like
real.
your 20s with money. And I could not agree more because once you have money, you make better decisions because you have options.
Facts. Very true.
Hmm.
You have options.
Yeah, and I definitely can say that I do feel like I have options now as I'm 30. That's very and it's across the board, whether it's where I'm living, what work I'm doing, what I'm
Mhm.
wearing, who I'm hanging out with. I feel those options.
Welcome to a life full of options, Jillian.
Yes.
All
And it
right.
and if if you just realize it's my birthday, we're celebrating all month, I am taking presents, just DM me. My DMs are open.
Hey.
My DMs are open.
Hey.
I live in New Jersey, but
Can we share to our 30s? Can we do that? Can we
Yes.
share to
Cheers to
our
our
30s?
30s.
To
Yay.
our joints hurting, to our hair being sexier than ever, to our skin glowing, to our asses being beyond fine, and for knowing what the fuck we want out of our lives. To your 30s.
Yes. Let's go.
all right. Oh man.
Woo!
And
It's
we
been
love y'all.
love y'all. Thank you so much. We feel good about it?
Yes.
Let's feel good about it. Thank you so much for another episode of BAPS Comedy Live. You can
Bye,
always
y'all.
check us out on Facebook,
Thank
on
you.
rewatch on YouTube, do all that sexy stuff. A little last minute happy birthday shout out to Jillian. Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for joining us. Love you.
Love
Bye
y'all.
bye.
My hair texture is all over the place.